This week we have a beast of an SUV. This is the 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee L. We're gonna dive into a lot of it, but this is about as luxurious as a 5-star hotel on wheels, like driving around in a spa, but with more horsepower and less cucumber water. Let's get into it. So the Grand Cherokee is a mid-size SUV produced by Jeep. The L went on sale in 2021. We did review this last year. The wheelbase here is 6.9 inches longer than the previous generation 2-row model and 5 inches longer than its 2-row counterpart in this generation. And although this just came out for the 2022 model year, this 2023 does have some upgrades. We're gonna go through those as well as give you a full look around this one. Let's start off with the trims offered here. So trims here aren't very new. They do include the Laredo, Altitude, Overland, Limited, Summit, and Summit Reserve. This one is the Summit Reserve, again, of the L. The L does not get a Trailhawk version. That one is only offered in the standard wheelbase as a 5-seater, which makes sense. Let's scoot back a little bit again and take a look at the exterior here. So there is a lot to like about the design of the Grand Cherokee, even the L being a bit longer. And you can see it in the body that this thing is a bit bigger than the regular Grand Cherokee. Not really much has changed from the 2022, but this one, the Summit Reserve, in this hydro blue pearl paint, really draws some attention. A lot of people mentioned to me how much they liked this paint color. And then you've got all the gloss black accents, including up in the front grille, the cabin surround, the Grand Cherokee lettering there. We do have a brushed aluminum chrome look on the roof rails. We have 21-inch by 9-inch black painted aluminum wheels with some performance all-season tires. Obviously, if you're gonna do some really deep off-roading, you can put some beefier tires on this thing, but for most day-to-day driving and light trail driving, these things are going to do just fine. We have our LED headlights, nice and slim, with the LED fog lights down there. We do have the gloss black side mirrors with integrated turn signals. We have dual exhaust pipes here in the rear with a little bit of fake tips integrated into the rear bumper butts. It looks good. You also have the L badge, the 4x4 badge, and the Summit badge. And we'll come back to the hatch in just a second and take a look at the cargo volume. But let's first talk about the full size of this vehicle. All right, and again, we are 5 inches longer than the 2-row model. Your total length here is 193.5 inches. The full wheelbase is 116.7 inches. The width is 77.5 inches and the height is 70.9 inches. The curb weight is 4,784 pounds and the gross vehicle weight rating is just over 6,000 pounds. And moving right along, let's go ahead and open up this hatch. It is a power lifting hatch and reveal our cargo volume here. Now again, this is the 3-row, so you are sacrificing a little bit of cargo volume. If you've got all seats up, you're looking at 37.7 cubic feet behind the 3rd row, which is a good amount, and 70.8 cubic feet total cargo volume with all the seats folded down. And for a 3-row mid-size SUV, those are pretty good numbers for cargo volume. You could definitely take a trip in here and have some luggage in the back. You definitely don't have to fold down the 3rd row to fit groceries in here. You can see we got our little bit of camera gear packed in here, no problem. And I can't always say that about 3-row mid-size SUVs, sometimes even the full-size SUVs. So for me, that's a win. Let's go ahead and check out the engine under the hood. All right, and there should be no surprise here underneath the hood. We are dealing with the 3.6 liter V6 engine. Same engine you get across the lineup. Same engine you would get whether you get the regular wheelbase or long wheelbase. We are pushing 293 horsepower, 257 pound-feet of torque, and matched up to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And that's about it. Nothing too fancy going on under the hood, which is a good thing because it is a pretty solid and reliable engine and it's been around for a while. With that, let's go ahead and start checking out the interior, starting with the rear seats. All right, so we're gonna look at the rear seats first. You can access the rear seats by pulling up this handle here. The whole chair tilts forward and moves forward. So there's a really big gap there to get into the rear seats. And if you can see here, there is plenty of room for your third row passengers. I'm not gonna climb back there, but I did have the kids back here and they were just fine. It's obviously harder to get in and out of than something like a minivan, but really good for a midsize SUV. And you can see that seating material are all nice and comfortable. You get your own USB Type-C and Type-A ports back here. Plus there's a quick drop button for your third row seating. And that's true on both sides. There's also a quick access to the center console from the third row, which is kind of unique and really cool. Let's talk about the second row seating. Let's go ahead and jump in the second row and check this out here. So there's a ton to like about the second row of the Grand Cherokee L. You get a ton of room. I'm 6'1", kind of a bigger guy. Plenty of knee room, plenty of foot room. You can scoot forward to give the back passengers a little bit more room, but as you saw, there's plenty of room back there as well. We've got cup holders, we've got a huge cubby here, you've got a nice console, you've got your own AC and heat controls as well as vents back here. You've got 2 Type-C and 2 Type-A USB charging ports, plus a 115 volt wall type outlet for charging. Seats, super nice. Seating, super comfortable. We don't have the 10-inch screens that can be fitted back here, which is fine. I think for most families, it's not a huge deal unless you're taking a lot of road trips in your vehicle. The seats are heated and cooled seats back here, which is almost unheard of. You've got your own manual shades, so the back passenger can block out some sunlight. Quite frankly, it's just a nice place to be, including the full panoramic sunroof, which will open up as we get into the front, which we might as well go ahead and do. Let's jump in the front, take a look at the rest of the interior and tech, then we'll take it for a drive. All right, guys, and in here in the front seats and the driver's seats, again, super nice interior. This is the Summit Reserve. It's the top of the line. We have these Palermo leather seats, perforated leather, quilted leather, brown stitching, looks super good. We have the global black interior with this wood grain that looks really nice. A lot to cover, so let's kick it on and I'll show you around. And let's start off with the 10.1 inch digital touchscreen offered in the Limited and Overland trims, but standard here in the Summit and Summit Reserve. And this has Uconnect 5 with navigation. This being available on the Limited and Overland trims is new for 2023, but has been in the Summit and Summit Reserve trims. And it's a really great system. I've always liked Uconnect for a long time, and this one is no different. We've got really nice controls, pretty responsive. Of course, here we've got heated, cooled, and massage seating, which is fantastic. You've got all the controls here in the touchscreen, but you also have physical buttons for your heated seat, cooled seat, and then way over here, this top button here is to toggle on your massage seat. And when you click it, it does give you options on what type of massage. So it's not just a one and done type of thing. Really cool. You can see we also have a heated steering wheel button and some other controls down here, all physical buttons. We also have some physical buttons on top of the screen. Your auto on off switch, a quick off switch for your lane sensing, for your traction control, your hazard lights, parking sensors, your actual assisted park feature, and then turning on and off the passenger screen, which yes, we do have a passenger screen here. It is not visible for the driver, but it is a nice screen for the passenger You can adjust audio settings there, a bunch of different information. We had this in the last Summit Reserve we drove, but we also had it in the Grand Wagoneer that we took on a road trip for the family where we drove from Texas to Alabama. It's not just a gimmick, it's pretty cool, really nice for the passenger. And again, from the driver perspective, you can't see it, so it's not distracting you. Moving down past these controls, you've got a little cubby here that has your USB Type-C, USB Type-A charging ports. You have an HDMI port and a quick accessory plug there. You also have a wireless phone charger here. So you just throw your phone down there and it will start wirelessly charging. We do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as wireless Apple CarPlay. So you can have your phone wirelessly connected, wirelessly charging, and you don't have to have this mess of wires here. Moving back behind that tray is more of a driving central command. You have your terrain management system here. So you have a rock, a sand and mud, a snow, an auto, and a sport mode. And you can flip through those by just adjusting it here. We'll talk more about that as we drive. You have a quick 4 low button, a hill descent control button. This is a toggle for your ride height, so you can make it lower for more aerodynamic, easier to get in and out, easier to load the back, or you can get it super high, which is going to be much better for off-roading, obviously. And then of course your turn dial shifter here, put it into reverse. You can see we do have a backup camera as well as a full 360 view, and you can look around the car. But even with it in park, you can come over to your vehicle controls and hit your surround view camera button, and that'll give you all those cameras without having to put it into reverse. You also have what they dub Fam Cam here, which is really great. And again, this was on a lot of vehicles that we've taken on road trips and stuff before. And you can see all the seats. You can zoom into one particular view. So if you've got a baby sleeping or just need to see what's going on without having to turn your head away from the road, this is great. Moving back down even further, we got cup holders. We've got little cubby there, another deeper cubby there, and a nice cushiony armrest, leather with the brown stitching. Moving on to the steering wheel, it's a nice, not really thick, more thin steering wheel, fully round, no flat bottom or anything. You've got nice controls on the steering wheel. You've got paddle shifters back here. You've got controls on the back of the steering wheel as you might be used to in any kind of a Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, Dodge vehicle. All the usual suspects there. Lighting controls are over here. Memory seats, the massaging seat that I talked to you about. Back behind the steering wheel is the driver information display. A little bit hard to see here on the camera, but we've got quite a few different options here. You can also flip through different settings, so you can see a few different options here. And you can change what you're seeing in these little boxes, which is nice. What's also nice is our head-up display. Again, gonna be a little bit difficult to see here, but it is a nice big head-up display. Shows a lot of different information that is relevant, and you can update it and change it through your menu system as well. Of course, we do have the panoramic sunroof. That goes all the way back to the second row. Really nice, but of course with the sun beating down on you here in Texas, I like to just keep it closed. We also have our rear view mirror here that shows the camera from the rear of the vehicle. You can flip it and change what you want to see, but I've gotten quite used to being able to see the rear view camera here. I think it's a good feature, but that's covering a lot here in the interior. If I missed anything that you wanted to see, please leave it down in the comments and I'll see what I can do about either getting another video out or at least answering a question that you have. But I think it's time to get this thing out on the road and let's start talking about the drive. All right, so let's throw this thing in gear by twisting the knob and set off. One of the great things about the Grand Cherokee is the air suspension. The fact that it can raise and lower is fantastic, but the air suspension is going to give you a really nice ride. Super comfortable, super easy driving, decent at turning. So if you're in tighter streets, having to do tighter turns, It's not really that big of an issue for a mid-size SUV, but this thing is big and a bit more difficult to maneuver than other SUVs in the class. We do have quite a bit going for us here in the interior. Lots of tech, lots of comfort features in this Summit Reserve. Having a heated seat with a massaging feature on a long road trip is just fantastic. Having the fam cam and being able to see the rear seats without having to turn around, really great. Having the camera in the rear view mirror, so if you've got this thing packed full, you can still see out the back with no issues. Really great. You've got all the safety features like lane keeping assist, radar guided cruise control, blind spot monitoring. Again, all features that are great for not just families, but anybody doing a road trip or has a longer commute like we tend to do here in Texas. And not all of this is specific to the Summit Reserve. You can get a lot of these technologies in the lower trims and save a lot of money. We'll talk about the price of this thing here in a bit, but there's a lot to like with a Summit Reserve, but a lot of that comes in any Grand Cherokee that you get. Obviously, it's a Jeep, it's a Grand Cherokee. You can take it just about anywhere. We do have the drive modes. We have the rock mode, the sand and mud mode, the snow mode. I'm sure all of them have different meanings and different settings, different slip ratios and whatnot. But quite frankly, it doesn't matter too much which one you put it in. This thing is gonna do what you need it to do. We've done plenty of events off-roading, taking the Grand Cherokee all over the place here in Texas. So I have no doubt it'll do 99% of what most people are gonna ask from this. If you want to do more, you're getting something more like a Wrangler. But the Grand Cherokee has a lot of the same trail ratings as a Wrangler. Of course, this being the L, it's not quite as off-road ready. It is longer, it is heavier. Your approach and departure angles are gonna suffer a bit from the extra length. But again, for 90 to 98% of what anybody that buys this is gonna do, this will handle it. Fuel economy wise, you're looking at 18 miles per gallon city, 25 miles per gallon on the highway, with a combined of 21 miles to the gallon. Full week that I've had it, I've been averaging 19 miles to the gallon, which we do mostly city driving. Most highway driving that I did was taking my son to the airport, which is a good distance away, and then driving downtown to the office once this week. So most driving in this has been to the store, out shopping with the family, running around doing family stuff. All that to say, I think the 19 miles per gallon average that we've done here is not that bad, especially for a large 3-row SUV. But in all that driving throughout the week, again, Grand Cherokee, awesome platform. And with that, we can talk about the price a bit. So a base Grand Cherokee L comes in just around $42,000, which that I think is a really great price for what you're getting. Now, I haven't driven a base Grand Cherokee. I'd really like to, but I think that's a pretty good price for everything that you would get. Now, the Summit Reserve starts just under $66,000, and this one, with the few options that it has a full MSRP just over $76,000. So you're spending quite a bit of money to get into this thing. How does that stack up against the competition, and what are other things, especially 3 rows, that I would consider besides this? Let's go find a place to pull back over. I'll jump out, give you some of my final thoughts, and we'll wrap up the video there. All right, so I drove the Grand Cherokee L Summit Reserve last year when they first were introduced. And before driving that vehicle, one of the big gripes or things that I would talk about when driving the Grand Cherokee was that I wish they would make a 3-row version. I really have loved the Grand Cherokee for a long time now, basically since the previous generation was introduced. And I always wanted a 3-row version of that vehicle, and now we have it. But now we also have the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer, and for the money of this Summit Reserve, you could get a decently spec'd Wagoneer or Grand Wagoneer, and that's 3-row. That's a big full-size SUV. So if you're looking for space for the family, those things are gonna be what you're looking at if you're looking for ruggedness. Those can do a lot off-road as well, but this thing will handle a lot more, especially the Summit Reserve. But of course, if that's what you're looking for, you might go for the 2-row option and really dive into the Trailhawk. Either way, I love that Jeep has made this. I think it's a fantastic go anywhere family SUV, plus all the luxury, plus all the interior quality, plus all the tech that you get in it, plus it looks great. So would I recommend it to somebody looking? Absolutely, I would definitely recommend it. With that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit the thumbs up button if you did. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the Grand Cherokee L. Also go check out txgarage.com, where we've got a lot of written reviews as well as event and news coverage over there. Lots of great stuff by a lot of great authors, not just myself. Definitely worth going and checking out. With that, guys, I'm done. Thanks for watching.